they were leaving first, and that when they started leaving, they had one terrorist in front with the hand grenades and then the fuses for the bomb like this. And then there were two hostages and then another terrorist with fuses, and then so on.
After an agonizing hour in the stairwells of the AIA building, the terrorists and hostages emerge in a close-knit formation and board a waiting bus. Police snipers positioned around the bus are frustrated. They cannot take out their targets.
The hostages actually are cover for them. If you act against us, people die. Right from the first moment they took them to the last moment.
You may have taken shot at one or two, but the others are still with the balance of the hostage. So they were very clever. They were very cunning.
Only 20 people board the bus, 5 terrorists and 15 hostages. 29 hostages are forced to stay on level 9 of the AIA building, which authorities now believe has been booby-trapped.
I was absolutely convinced, sure, that they had placed bombs in the Swedish embassy or in the American consulate someplace. So at that moment, I panicked.
The Malaysian Army immediately dispatches their bomb disposal unit specialist, Lieutenant Jamil, to level 9.
Kita masuk dulu bersama-sama dengan pihak security kedutaan Amerika lah, Marine ya. Dan kami masuk, mula-mula kami masuk bilik tebusan tu, lepaskan tebusan yang ditinggalkan. Dan lepas tu kami masuk satu bilik ke satu bilik semua untuk menentukan supaya bangun semua bersih lah. Dan didapati semua memang tidak ada bom ditinggalkan.
For Swedish Embassy Secretary Ulla Adquist and 28 hostages, their 3-day ordeal has come to an end.
In the elevator, say we were 7-8 people there, I started crying. My knees were, my legs were trembling, and I started crying. And it was this Malaysian woman who said, "But it's over, why do you cry?" And I said, "But that's why I'm crying."
For 15 other hostages, their ordeal continued at Subang International Airport. Both the terrorists and hostages board the DC-8 aircraft that had flown in the night before with 5 Japanese prisoners. At the Operations Center, Chief Negotiator Ghazali Shafi'i negotiates frantically to urge the leader of the Japanese Red Army to release the rest of the hostages. His last-minute efforts make headway, and the Japanese Red Army agrees to swap the 15 remaining hostages for 4 government representatives, 2 from Malaysia and 2 from Japan. Osman Kasim, a Malaysian government official, clearly remembers the demand.
When the demand was made known to us, they wanted to have 2 Malaysian hostages to accompany them on the flight out of Kuala Lumpur. The minister, Ghazali Shafi'i, turned around to me and to my other colleague, and he said, in a joking manner, that if they want the 2 hostages, people like you and you would be the one to go. I felt as though I had received a death sentence. The feeling of the judge giving a death sentence to a convicted person would be the kind of feeling that I felt at that time.
Osman anxiously waits for the hostage exchange to take place, but after 2 hours, he's told to go home first and come back later. The plane has been grounded. No Arab country will offer the terrorists asylum. It is a tense time for negotiators, as Captain Hassan Ahmad remembers.
How are we going to get permission to honor the demand of the Red Army? I mean, it's a difficult task to allow terrorists from one country to come into your country, isn't it?
Armed with pistols and grenades, the terrorists threaten Ghazali and his team to find a country offering asylum soon, or they'll start killing the hostages. 6th August 1975, the Japanese Red Army hold 15 people hostage on board a DC-8 aircraft at Subang International Airport, Kuala Lumpur. The plane has been on the runway for 8 hours. Chief negotiator Ghazali Shafi'i still does not have a destination secured. No country wants to take in the terrorists. The terrorists are still armed and dangerous, and failure to gain asylum from an Arab country could prove fatal. It is a long night again for the negotiation team. For the next few hours, they pressured the Libyan government to accept the terrorists.
Because Libya was being accused of being supporters of these Japanese Red Army or terrorists and all that. So they didn't want to take responsibility. It took some hours of persuasion. In fact, Ghazali appealed to the foreign minister that please speak to your president to accept the Japanese Red Army and the aircraft. It was some time later the Libyan then agreed.
But another problem arises. The pilot of the DC-8 aircraft, Captain Tamio Masuko, refuses to fly the plane as long as there are explosives on board.
We managed to get the Japanese Red Army to agree to offload the explosive. And indeed, but they want to do it themselves.
Finally, Malaysian authority asked, please leave the explosive because you are safely going out from our territory. But we don't want to show which bomb we have. But if you give us a place, we will make explode it. No need to carry in an airplane.
Malaysia's army immediately orders bomb disposal expert Lieutenant Jamil and his assistant to help with the detonation. They drive up to the plane to pick up 2 of the terrorists.
Yang kita rasa tension juga. Tapi apabila dia jumpa sini, dia kata you can assist us in how to demolish this bomb without because we do not know how effective this is.
Taking the bombs to an open area about 500 meters from the plane, Jamil notices that the bombs have no switches to trigger an explosion.
Tetapi yang aneh saya perhatikan tidak ada switch mechanism lah dalam bahasa kita kata, iaitu peralatan untuk nak meledakkan bom ni. Ada by remote control ke, delay ke, by tindakan tarik ke, tekan ke, kan. Bermakna bom ini hanya akan diletupkan apabila mereka sambungkan wire. Mereka sendiri akan meletuplah kalau switch on wire ni.
In a shocking revelation, the terrorists are suicide bombers.
Dia tunjuk pada saya bom ni dan dia kata, sebenarnya dia kata, this is going to be the best show for the crowd.
The explosion is powerful enough to cause major damage to an airplane. The Japanese Red Army members don't want any evidence that can later incriminate them if they are ever caught.
Saya dan Sarjan Lakarya kutiplah sprinter tu balik. Kan, kutip, tengok balik apa semua. Tetapi setelah sambil kami kutip tu, salah seorang daripada Tentera ini minta kami berhenti. Dia orang nak kutip. Dia orang kutip, dia masukkan dalam beg kertas dia orang balik. Dan dia sempat kata kepada saya, dia kata, this one we cannot give you because this can be used as evidence against us later.
Despite detonating the explosives, Japan Airlines Captain Tamio Masuko still refuses to fly the plane. Chief negotiator Ghazali sees this as a stalling tactic by the Japanese government, wanting to resolve the conflict on the airport tarmac. Ghazali is forced to come up with a plan. He surprises the Japanese ambassador by ordering Captain Hassan Ahmad, the chief pilot of Malaysia Airlines, to fly the plane.
Ghazali told the Japanese ambassador, Mr. Ambassador, Your Excellency, if you do not ask your pilots to fly the aeroplane out of Kuala Lumpur, I will get Captain Hassan and his crew to fly the aeroplane out. And then of course he looked at me and he said, Captain Hassan, get ready. Legally, we cannot fly the aeroplane because you are not rated. And I could see the panic on the Japanese delegation. and he really instructed the pilots to come out and fly, the Japan airline pilots. But what Ghazali did was very simple. It's just a tactic in negotiation, and it worked.
Negotiations with the terrorists are back on track. Although Captain Hassan will not be flying the DC-8 aircraft, he has to meet the leader of the Japanese Red Army to devise a flight path through international airspace.
There were some countries who were reluctant, a bit slow to give flight. Notably, I think India and Iran, and did not give overflight clearance. But circumventing their airspace is no problem at all.
On board the plane, Captain Hassan also speaks with the hostages.
The passengers were asking us, what's happening? And of course we tell them everything normal, everything is safe, the negotiation is going on very well, and we can look forward to the departure